Let's talk for a minute about selling your business. Hopefully maybe you've had a small business for a long time and it's made a big impact on your life, but it's time to move on. Whether it's time to move on to retire or move on to another business, there's always the option of selling your business. Unfortunately, most small business owners and entrepreneurs face the prospect of selling their business at a time when they're no longer willing or able to put in the time, the effort, or the money to really get the most out of the sale. But in order to really maximize the benefits of the sale, you need to do a few things beforehand. I like to tell people to start about 12 months early. That way you can start putting together a plan. Believe me, putting off the sale of your business is going to be worth it if you can do these certain things to maximize the sale. The first thing you need to do is to clean up the books. Make sure that you've been keeping accurate financial records that an accountant, a banker, any other business owner can scrutinize and not find any fault with. If you're not using QuickBooks right now, I strongly encourage you to do that. There are a lot of other different platforms out there, but I've been using QuickBooks since version 1.0 for DOS. I'm really fond of it for a small business tool. I like the standalone version that sits on your desktop instead of the online version, but that's always an option, is to do the online version. If you haven't been using QuickBooks, it's never too late to start. I will put an affiliate link in the description for QuickBooks University, which I think is one of the greatest tools that you can use to learn QuickBooks if you're not keeping books. So another thing about keeping good solid books and financial records is making sure that you're not just putting some cash in your pocket. I know that as a small business owner, it's so easy to just once in a while somebody says, hey, who do you want this check made out to? You want it made out to you? You want it made out to the business? And you say, oh yeah, just make it out to me. That way you can keep it off of the books. Well, that's all fine for yourself, but it doesn't help you maximize the value of your business. Besides being bad accountant practices and slightly illegal because you're skirting the law of paying taxes on that, it doesn't help you to show your financial records and your profits and stuff on the books, which is what you want to do. So if you're planning to sell your business very soon and you've been putting some cash in your pocket off the books, stop doing that immediately. Start reporting all of your income. If you still need to be able to take some money out of your business and you're not sure how, besides the cash that you've been taking, I'll put a link in the description too to an article that I wrote on smallishbusiness.com about how to pay yourself without stealing from yourself. Because if you're taking cash off the books, you're really stealing from yourself, and it's going to cost when you go to sell the business. So that's the first thing you've got to do, is to keep really solid books. The second thing you need to do is to create some turnkey systems. There's a book written not too long ago by Michael Gerber called The E-Myth, and E stands for entrepreneur. And in it, he talked a lot about the importance of creating turnkey systems. I think he invented the phrase turnkey systems. And what it basically means is systems in place, procedures in place, checklists and workflows for how to operate your business. Keep in mind that the person buying your business doesn't want to have to start from scratch. The whole point of buying a going concern is to buy something that's already running, and they don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure it all out. Somebody else has done all that stuff. And in order to get paid for that, which is what you want to do for having figured all that stuff out, you need to have those documented steps and checklists for that incoming buyer. If they wanted to figure it all out for themselves, they'd start a business from scratch instead of buying yours that's already a going concern. So start looking at all of your different steps and procedures, your sales process, your inventory process, every process that's in your business, and create a workflow for those things. Create a checklist so that someone else can step into your role as the business owner and hit the ground running with all of those things without missing a beat. That way they can make a profit from day one. And believe me, it will come out in the sales price because you can charge more for a business that has those steps and procedures and checklists in place. And the person buying your business will really appreciate it, because what you want to do is to set them up for success. You don't want to set them up for failure. You want to set them up for success. Now, what a lot of people do is to look at franchises. And franchising is an opportunity for you to get some of those turnkey systems that are already done so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You'll be paying for it though. Keep in mind that franchises, in addition to charging a really big franchise fee up front, franchises take a percentage of gross revenue, not net profit, net revenue. They take a percentage of the gross revenue. So even if a business isn't making any money, the franchise still has to get paid. So if you have a small business that fits within another franchise operation, perhaps as the seller, you could buy into a franchise and run it for 1 year or so, and now you have all of those systems that the franchise provided to you. You have a bigger name and maybe access to some financing and things that makes you more able to market your business as a bigger platform than just your standalone business. Now you're a part of something bigger. So you as the seller could think about doing a franchise before you sell the business. On the other hand, your incoming buyer, if you have a buyer in mind that you've already been talking to and they're a little leery, maybe they don't have access to financing and they don't have the ability to put those systems together, perhaps that buyer could buy a franchise and then assume your company into their franchised business. That might offer them some options for financing that might otherwise not be available. So even though I'm not a really big fan of franchises, because I think that a good entrepreneur and small business owner can figure out all that stuff on their own and make the premium and keep the money for themselves, it's also kind of an easy button for a lot of people to do a franchise. So don't rule it out. The big picture is to make sure that you have all of those workflows and turnkey systems in place so that someone else can step right into your shoes and hit the ground running. The third thing to do, which goes right along with those workflows, is to create policies and procedures. I'm talking about health and safety policies, hiring and firing policies, all of the different operational things that go into actually running the business, not as much as dealing with customers, but internal policies, including emergency policies and contingency policies and how things operate within your business. It's important to have those because the person coming in is going to be new to the game and maybe not understand everything that goes on with running the business. And again, you want to set them up for success. The fourth thing you need to do is to find the right buyer. Take a look at your suppliers, your vendors, your customers, maybe even your competition. Look at your employees. Look at the friends and colleagues around you, people in your Rotary Club and things, and think to yourself, who would be a good candidate to buy this business? Ideally, it'd be great to have somebody who has enough cash to just buy it outright, but that's a little hard to find nowadays. And so you might need to hold back a little financing and finance it yourself. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to carry some of the note yourself, in other words, they're not going to get a full bank loan and give you a check. If maybe they get a bank loan for 50% of it and then you carry a note payable for the rest of it, you want to make sure that you have chosen someone and given them everything that they need to succeed so that they can pay you back. So that's another reason to have made sure you have all of your policies in place and you have accurate books that you know exactly how much money somebody's going to make. That all of that stuff builds up so that you make sure that the person buying your business is going to be able to pay it back. So take a look at the people who might be interested in buying your company, maybe a manager, maybe an employee, and see if you can figure out who might be best for that, and then just approach them. You know, one of the reasons that you might want to find a buyer yourself instead of employing a business broker is to avoid the brokerage commission on selling a business. It could be 8, 10, 12, or maybe even 15% of the sale price to use a business broker to sell your business. I think if you've been in business for a long time and you've got a successful business that's worth selling, you can probably figure out how to put policies and procedures in place, get your workflow done, and find the right buyer for your business to make the best of the sale for yourself. I hope that helps if you're considering selling your business. If you have any questions about doing that, please don't hesitate to send me an email. Also, be sure to click subscribe and the bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos, which happens every week on Thursday. Thanks, and be sure to visit smallishbusiness.com.